What up nerds and dice goblins, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most underrated things in a dungeon master's toolbox, factions. You know, those groups of NPCs with strong opinions, shared goals, and a burning desire to complicate your players' lives. They are that stuff that take your campaign from fun to, oh my god, we're never trusting that guy again. But hang tight, because if you stick right to the end of the video, I've got a free goodie for you, my very own favor system. It's going to change the way you run your games forever. And yes, it's totally free, no strings attached, unlike every cursed artifact your players will ever pick up. So let's start with the basics. What is a faction? A faction is essentially a group of NPCs who decided that life is better when you have friends. They're just like your players, except more organized and less likely to argue over pizza toppings for the next 20 minutes. Factions exist for a reason. Sometimes they're holding magical relics, other times they're spreading chaos, and maybe they're running a kingdom-wide network of illegal dice games. Whatever their purpose, they add heaps of depth and intrigue into your world. Without factions, your campaign is like Mimic without treasure. It doesn't really work well. Now, why do factions matter to us, the all-powerful dungeon masters? Because they make our lives easier. Let's face it, being a DM is like herding cats, except the cats are armed, they have magic, they have a knack for ruining your carefully planned lore that you spent weeks writing. No hard feelings. Factions are like cheat codes for storytelling. Need a main quest? The faction leader's gone missing and your players need to find him. Need a subplot? A rival faction is causing trouble and someone needs to deal with it. Need filler content because your players derailed the story to start a chicken farm? Faction drama to the rescue. They're the one-size-fits-all solution for a lazy, efficient DM. But factions aren't just plot machines. They make your world feel as awesome as Granny's cookings. When factions react to your players' choices, it creates the illusion that the world keeps spinning when your players aren't looking. Did your party save a faction's caravan from bandits? Well, now that faction's grateful, and maybe they'll offer a reward or a new quest. Did your party steal from a faction's treasury and set their fortress on fire? Well, congratulations, now you've got an enemy who knows how to hold a grudge. And let's not forget the best part. Factions give players connections, friends to count on, enemies to fear, and rivals to awkwardly tolerate. Every great campaign needs that one rival faction that's always one step ahead of the party. You know the type, smug, infuriating, and just competent enough to ruin everything. Nothing bonds a party faster than a shared hatred for the Knights of Smug Pissweasels. Now that we've established why factions are amazing, let's talk about building one. I'm gonna do this in a YouTube-friendly numbered list. Step 1. Come up with a name. The name is everything. A great name makes your factions memorable, while a boring name makes your players call them those guys in red. Think big, think bold, think the defeated vultures, the Knights of Shadowed Flame, or even the cult of totally not evil wizards. If your players aren't intrigued or mildly concerned, you better get a new name. If you're actually struggling with names, do these methods. I've got a couple. You've got the color item method, for example, the gold horns. You've got the organization of the method, for example, Knights of the Royal Palace, or the color organization method, the Crimson Circle. These should give you a first sense of direction where you could start making names. Step 2. Give your faction a purpose. What's their deal? Are they safeguarding ancient knowledge, trying to overthrow the king, or maybe they've got a holy crusade to outlaw pineapple pizza? Whatever their goal, make it clear, specific, and a little over the top. A faction without a purpose is like a rogue without sneak attacks. It's just pure depression. Step 3. Give them a home base. Factions need a lair, whether it's a creepy castle, a hidden forest enclave, or that one suspiciously friendly tavern where the bartender always knows your name. Tie the location to the faction's identity. A group of rogue wizards might operate out of a crumbling tower filled with forbidden tomes, while a band of thieves might claim the city's sewers as their own. The more memorable a location, the more likely your players are to interact with it, or set it on fire. Now that your faction has a name, purpose, and a place, let's talk about the fun stuff, making them interactive. Because what's the point of creating a faction if your players can't mess with it? This is where my all self-built favor system comes in. Picture this, a 20-point scale that tracks how much a faction loves or absolutely despises your players. Think of it like Google reviews for NPCs, except instead of 1-star ratings, you get assassination attempts. Here's how it works. Every faction starts somewhere on the scale. Most are neutral, meaning they couldn't care less about your party, yet, but your players can change that through their actions. Positive deeds like completing a faction's quests or helping them defend their territory earns favor points. Negative deeds like stealing their treasure or, blowing up their headquarters loses points. Every choice matters, and the results are deliciously dramatic. Let's break it down. At the top of the scale, you've got allied factions. These guys are your ride or die homies. They'll give you gifts, send reinforcements, and maybe even adopt you as a bard. At the bottom, you've got hostile factions. They're out for blood. Expect ambushes, bounty hunters, and the occasional smear campaign in your local tavern. It's like political intrigue meets survival horror, and it's beautiful. But wait, it gets better. The favor system isn't just for factions. You can apply it to individual NPCs too. Let's say your players befriend a charismatic thief named Sly. Use the favor system to track their standing with him personally. Maybe they're on good terms with Sly, and now he helps them befriend the rest of the Thieves Guild. This creates layers of deep relationship that makes every part of your world feel unique. It's like giving your NPCs a little extra spice. Who doesn't love spicy NPCs? I mean, I made a whole video on that. Check in the description, watch it after this one. So now you've got factions, NPCs, and players who, let's face it, will probably ruin everything. That's the beauty of the favor system. It's built for chaos. Let's say your players are working with a noble faction that wants to protect a magical artifact. Great, right? Except one player decides that stealing the artifact is what my character would do. Classic, Dave, I'm looking at you. With a favor system, you've got a framework to handle this betrayal. The faction's favor points drop, and suddenly the party is dealing with consequences they can't just stab their way out of. Well, probably. But this system isn't just about punishing bad behavior. It's also about rewarding good stuff. If your players consistently help a faction, their standing improves. Unlocking perks and rewards. Maybe the faction gives them access to a rare item or secret knowledge. Maybe they send an elite NPC to aid the party, or maybe they throw a feast in the party's honor, which sounds nice until you realize your barbarian just tried to wrestle the faction leader's prized owlbear. The point is, this system makes every interaction meaningful, from the smallest gesture to the biggest betrayal. And let's now talk about those rewards. The favor system is perfect for creating unique, faction-specific goodies. Imagine your players gain the trust of a selective mage guild. They might just get access to an enchanted library, complete with forbidden spells and magic research tools. Or they ally with a thieves guild and earn a ring that lets them vanish into the shadows. Or my personal favorite, they join a group of chaotic druids and get a pet owlbear. Why? Because owlbears are awesome and nobody can convince me otherwise. On the flip side, the consequences for low favor can be just as memorable. Hostile factions can do everything from sending assassins to sabotaging the player's reputation. Picture this, your party strolls into a town thinking they're the heroes, only to find wanted posters with their faces plastered everywhere. And don't forget the smaller, more creative punishments. Maybe the faction spreads rumors that the party's rogue has a terrible breath, making every persuasion check just a little harder. Now I think that's pretty funny, and it's exactly the kind of thing your players will remember. But the real magic of the favor system is how flexible it is. You don't just have to use it for big, powerful organization. It works just as well for smaller groups or even individual NPCs. Let's say your players befriend a traveling merchant who happens to be a spy for a larger faction. The favor system can track how much this merchant trusts the party and how much information they're willing to share. Maybe the merchant starts out on neutral, but warms up after the party saves them from a goblin ambush. Or maybe the players accidentally insult the merchant's taste in wine, and suddenly they're paying double for everything. Little moments like these add layers of complexity to your game, making every interaction feel like it matters. Speaking of which, let's talk about the players who like to play the long game. You know the type, the ones who meticulously plan out every interaction, every decision, and every carefully worded lie. For them, the favor system is a goldmine. It gives players a clear path to manipulate their standing with factions and NPCs. Want to infiltrate a faction? Start by doing favors, gaining their trust, and working your way up the ladder. Want to dismantle a faction from within? Get on the good side, learn their secrets, and then watch the fireworks. It's all possible, and it's deliciously chaotic. Of course, no system is perfect. Players will find a way to break it, because that's what players do. But the beauty of the favor system is that it's designed to handle unexpected twists. If your party decides to join a faction only to betray them later, you've got a framework to manage the fallout. If your players accidentally get on the faction's bad side, the system gives you the tools to plan their redemption arc. One more thing that makes the favor system even more exciting is the role-playing possibilities. The system isn't just about numbers and rewards, it's about storytelling. And the best part? It's all player-driven. The system doesn't just respond to what the players do, it encourages them to make a bold action and live with the consequences. Well, if you want to get your hands on the favor system, it's in the description below. As I said, totally free, just have fun with it. But however, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys next time.